We have paid attention to the new bellicose statements of the French leadership. In particular, well, they come almost every day. Well, in particular, in an interview with the British magazine The Economist on the 2nd of May, French President Macron said that if Russian troops break through the front line and the Ukrainian side makes a request to that effect, it will be necessary to raise the issue of sending Western troops to the region. We have already commented on the irresponsible and provocative rhetoric of the French leader many times, but unfortunately, there are no fewer questions with every new statement he makes. It is characteristic that Macron himself explains this rhetoric by the desire to create some kind of strategic uncertainty for Russia. We have to disappoint him. For us, the situation looks more than certain. We've also long since made up our minds if the French show up in the conflict zone, they will inevitably become targets for the Russian armed forces. It seems to me that Paris already has proof of this, proof that the belligerence of the master of the Élysée Palace is repulsive not only to many European Union and NATO allies, but also, most importantly, to the overwhelming majority of French citizens. First, they have, in my opinion, fallen victim to Macron's strategic uncertainty. They themselves cannot understand what he is saying, but at the same time, they realize that all this rhetoric is very dangerous, aggressive, and French citizens are hostages and now direct victims. In the truest sense of the word, I say again, the data on French deaths in the conflict zone, who were fighting, and maybe even not just fighting, but leading ranks, units of the Ukrainian armed forces, gave them some tips, advice. This data is becoming more and more numerous, unfortunately. But all of this, apparently, does not embarrass Macron. Apparently, this is what true liberal democracy should look like, which he so zealously calls for the defense of from external and internal enemies. We are not at all surprised by the manipulation by official Paris. The age-old myth of some kind of Russian war threat to France and the whole of Europe, nor the desire to justify the multi-billion-dollar expenditure on the West's hybrid war with Russia in Ukraine. I, by the way, want to recall historical realities. The French military were in our country because they thought it needed to be conquered. Conquer it, take it over. The Russian military were on French territory when they decided to carry aggressors and invaders, go away, to be sure, to the door of the house. But in this most bizarre of rhetoric, Macron is not alone in his rhetoric and, unfortunately, not original. It's difficult to understand to the citizens of France and to the citizens of other countries, and indeed to all those who follow Macron's speeches, where is this ease and recklessness with which the political elites of France, in order to please the Anglo-Saxons, part with the traditions of their country? The military, political, and even intellectual sovereignty that was also truly available in the past. Yes, there have been shameful pages in French history, but there have also been great ones. This is the French resistance. This is the very position that France took from its leadership. In the second half of the Second World War, these are the great pages, and that's what we should be focusing on. And not the really shameful pages of the same French history, which were also there and which we have not forgotten. The point is that there is a pragmatic side to this problem, not just moral and ethical, historical, but purely pragmatic. After all, such statements, such steps, which are taken in support of these statements, are destroying not only European security, it's already destroyed, well, and France's own security.